Okay, so let's think about what is it that your ideal clients want. And so let's start off with, first of all, understanding, well, what is an ideal client? This is something I talk about a lot. It's something that when I started my accounting firm way back in 1996, I'd never heard of. I thought it was all about getting as many clients as possible. I would take on anybody. And that led to so many problems. We have to be really focused on getting the right clients. And so you need to make sure that you are clear on what is the right client for you? What is the right ideal client? And the more specific the specific you are, the more you narrow down, the more you niche, the more you specialize, the easier life gets. Now, we're not going to talk specifically about ideal clients today. We're going to focus on how to find out what they want. But you will need to have a clear idea of what is your ideal client. And you need to put that in writing. And you need to be thinking about some of the characteristics. What sort of industries are they in? What sort of size are they? How long have they been in business? It may be about their personalities. It may be you only like working with people who have similar interests to you, who are perhaps a similar age group to you. Whatever it might well be, you need to think about what is your ideal client. Because I see over and over again firms that are really clear on who they want to work with and who they don't want to work with build more successful accounting firms. Okay, so that's what an ideal client is. Very simple. It's your definition of what's right for you. Think about your ideal client. And if you're not sure, one of the things you could do is look at your best clients right now. Who are your favorite clients? Who do you love to work with? Which are the ones that you really like to get out of bed in the morning to go and serve? And once you've identified who are your favorite clients, then think about, well, what sort of things do they have in common? What are the characteristics? Are they in a certain industry, certain size? Do they have a certain mindset, a certain personality? You need to be clear, document it, write it down, and that's a great pre-qualifier or filtering system when you start meeting people. If you meet people that don't fit into that characteristic, that criteria, you are going to be better off not taking them on. So today is all about finding out, once we know what our ideal client is, today is all about what do they want? What do they want? And this is really important to establish because it helps us in so many ways. It will help us with our marketing. It'll help us, once we know what our ideal clients want, it will help us with targeting the right people with our marketing and, more importantly, having the right messaging. It'll help us with our sales process, with the words that we use, how we make sure that we understand them better and we become more compelling, more appealing to them. And it will also help us to serve them better. So we need to discover this information. This is one of the core steps in marketing strategy. When I teach marketing strategy, I like to keep things simple. And really there's three key steps we want to go through. Our marketing strategy has these three steps. Number one is, as we've just said, is to be really clear on what is our ideal client. Who do we want to serve? Step two is, once we know that, step two is what we're talking about today. What do they want? What does the ideal client want? And then step three, which is a topic for another day, once we understand that better, then we want to figure out, what does our firm want to look like? What do we want to offer? What service offerings that are going to better meet the needs and the wants of those ideal clients? So today is really about that step two in that process. It's about finding out what people want. So how do we go about doing that? And really there's two parts to this. Firstly, we need to figure out what are the sorts of questions we need to be asking. And then we need to put in place some processes to gather that information. So let's think about what sort of information do we want to gather from people. And then we'll look at the how. How do we do it? So one of the things we need to really understand with our clients, our ideal clients, what we want to understand is, we want to understand what are their frustrations, what are the challenges, what are the problems that they're facing. We need to understand that. We need to ask. We need to figure out what they are. So if, for example, you're building a practice, an accounting firm, and you want to niche down in perhaps engineering and manufacturing businesses, that's your thing, you love engineering businesses, you love manufacturing businesses, then what are the frustrations that they have in that type of business? What are the frustrations, the challenges, the problems? Because the better you can understand that, you can use that in, for example, your marketing. When you're looking to get more clients of that type, then the more you understand the frustrations, the challenges, the problems, when you build that into your marketing copy, your marketing messages, you're going to grab the attention of more people like that. So that's the starting point. What are their frustrations, challenges, problems? What are the roadblocks, the things that are causing them issues? The second thing you want to think about is, what are the things they worry about? What do they fear? What keeps them awake at night? And if we can better understand this, really get into the mind of our ideal clients as to what those fears are, what those worries are, it's going to help us with our marketing and the way that we serve them to make sure that we take away those worries. If we can give our clients more peace of mind, a greater sense of security, then they're going to get more value from us. It's going to help us build those relationships. It's going to help us to attract more clients. The next thing we want to figure out is, what do they want? What do they want now? What are the things that they're looking for? And there's really the two sides to this. There's, what do they want in their business? What do they want in their business? What's the things that they're looking for right now? Is it more cash? Are they looking to reduce their costs? Are they working crazy hard? Are they looking to save tax? Are they looking to grow their business? What's particularly important to them? What do they want right now in their business? But also their people. What about in their life? What are they looking for in life? What do they want? Is it that they want to retire in their early 50s? Do they want to buy a dream home? Do they want to travel around the world? What are the sorts of things that your ideal clients want? The better we understand that, the better we understand what they want in their business and in their life, again, it'll help us hugely with the words that we use, the marketing, the copy. How do we attract more of those type of clients? By talking about helping them get the things they want in life. And with our existing clients, how can we build services, offerings, solutions to help them get those things? So the wants is, what are they looking for right now? And then we also want to start to understand, what are their desires? Thinking more longer term. What is it that they want to achieve? What are their goals? What are the outcomes they want? What's their vision? What's their vision for their business? What's their vision for their life? The better you can understand this, understand what their end goals are, the more we can help them, work with them, come up with ideas, solutions to help them achieve those desires, those visions, their vision, those goals. That's really where we become hugely valuable. If we want to take the value that we create for clients to another level, yes, they get value out of us filling in their tax returns. They get value when we fill in their sales tax returns, when we do their bookkeeping, their annual financial statements. There's value in that. But if we can also help to take them to where they want to get to in life, to achieve those things that they desire, then we're adding a huge level of value. We want to understand, really, what are the things that matter to them? What's important to them? We want to understand, what are their values? What are their values? Because you'll tend to find that your favorite clients, your A-grade clients, the ones that you like the most, very often they will share similar values to you, because it's a fact of life that people tend to buy from people they like. And you probably find that. You will find that most of your best clients, you like them, and you perhaps have many of them as personal friends. I know that when I ran my accounting firm between 96 and 2006, a lot of my best clients, they became friends. We would go out for drinks in the evening. We'd go out, we'd do social stuff together. and we shared similar values. So if we can start to uncover what are their values, you will almost certainly find that there's some commonality there. Other things we might want to do is we might want to start to drill down and have some more practical questions. So the bigger picture ones are, what are their problems, their challenges? What are the things they worry about, their fears? What do they want right now? What are their desires? But we want to start perhaps drilling down some other practical things. So things like, how do your ideal clients like to communicate with you? Because everybody likes different communication systems. Some people like using direct messaging, some prefer emails, some prefer communicating through WhatsApp, for example. Do you know how your ideal clients like to communicate so that you can better serve them? You can serve them in ways that are more convenient for them. What about things like speed? How important is doing things fast to your ideal clients? Do they want things turning around fast? Do they expect you? Do they want you to answer their emails inside a day or even inside a few hours? Do they want you to, when they drop off their information for, let's say, a tax return, do they want it doing within a week, within a couple of weeks? We need to know that. We need to understand that. What's their, how important is speed to them? Because the better we understand these things, then we can start to build our firms, build our systems to make sure that we deliver what they want, that we can deliver outstanding service. We need to know that stuff. We also want to know things like, how important is it that they deal with you? Who do you want to deal with in your firm? Is it you? Is it really critical they deal with a senior partner, or are they happy dealing with other people in the firm? Again, you want to know that information early on. And partly, of course, because these more practical details, these will also help you with your pricing. When it comes to coming up with the price later in the process, the more you understand what's important to your clients, what matters to them, what do they value? When you understand those things, you can build that into your pricing. If clients value doing things fast, then you make sure you have the systems to do things fast, but because they value those things, you can also charge a premium price. Things like, how important is it that they have a close relationship with their accounting professional? Are they happy just to meet once a year? Or do they want you to work with them to help them build a successful business, to help them achieve their desires, their goals? Do they want to meet frequently, monthly, for example? We need to understand those things. If your ideal clients like to meet regularly with you, then you need to build that into your systems, into your service offerings. You need to build into your pricing, because if they want monthly meetings with you, then that's a premium level of service and you can charge higher prices if they value those things. If they value having regular input from you, then that's great, and you can charge for that. So what are the most important things that they want from you? Ask them if you could wave a magic wand right now, what would you want from your accountant, your bookkeeper? What are the most important things? You might then start to get down even more and drill down and be even more specific. You want to find out from your ideal clients, do they want help with, for example, do they want help with growing their business? If they do, if they want help with growing their business, growing their sales, or growing their profitability, their margins, if they want help with those things, and if you find many of your ideal clients want help with those things, then that's a suggestion to you that they want business advisory. And so if you find your ideal clients want help growing their business, building a more profitable business, that's great, because that's an opportunity. That's them telling you that they want you to go over and above just data entry or doing tax returns. They want you to work with them to help them build a great business. And so that means they're open to advisory services, which is, as you know, is a premium service. It might be they want help with saving tax. If they tell you that they want help with saving tax, and if that's your expertise, then you want to build your solutions, your service offerings around making sure you do stuff that's going to do that. You're going to offer stuff to tax reviews, tax advisory, tax planning, and and build that into your solutions. It might be they want help with improving cash flow. It might be they want help with improving internal efficiencies and therefore helping them put in place the right technologies, the right software to help them make their life easier. We need to understand the better that we understand what it is that our clients want, the better we can create the right solutions for them. So there's the sort of practical questions you want to be asking. So how do we do this? How do we gather all of this information? And there are lots of ways that we should be. You should use every method that you can to collect this information. So we should certainly ask for it as part of the onboarding process. So right at the very start of a brand new relationship with a client, and even before they say yes to being a client, as part of your initial meetings, you should be asking questions. You should be uncovering the questions that you ask. When you then sign them up and you go through the onboarding process, you can build in, again, more questions that you can ask them and get more information, gather this information. If you haven't got those systems in place right now, then think about all your existing client base, your ideal clients. If you haven't asked these sorts of questions, you need to be asking them. So build these questions into some of your standard meeting agendas. So every time going forward, you meet with your clients, and ideal clients particularly, because if it's a client that you don't like dealing with, then you don't really want to be, they're not the sort of, you don't want more of that type of client. So it's the ideal clients, your A-grade clients, you should be asking. Every time you meet an A-grade client, start to ask them these questions, start to understand at a deeper level what it is that they want, they fear, what their desires are, what keeps them awake at night, their problems and challenges. Ask them these questions, and even if they're a client already now, it'll help you to understand, well, what more can you do to help them? How can you improve the service? What other things can you offer? So systemize the process of asking questions in your meetings. Build them into your standard meeting agendas. You can also do surveys. You could do annual surveys. Once a year, you could survey your entire client base. It's a great thing to do. And some of the questions you put in surveys, you can use to collect information about what it is that's important to them. You could also do surveys either just before or just after projects. So it may be, for example, after you've done their tax return, perhaps you have a survey to ask them a few questions. Some of those questions are designed to understand what's important to them. How can you be better next time? What sort of things are they looking for? If you run events, and increasingly, certainly accountants and bookkeepers I'm working with are now starting to do webinars, and perhaps even physical events, workshops, speaking at events, and so on. If you do any form of event, use that as an opportunity to collect feedback, to ask people, perhaps running polls or to put things in the comments, the chat box, ask questions to start to understand what's important to them. Another great source of information is social media, particularly Facebook groups. It's one that I personally use a huge amount. As you know, my ideal client is bookkeeping firms, accounting firms. And so I'm in lots of Facebook groups, probably in Facebook groups with you right now. And not only that, I have my own Facebook group, something which I strongly recommend you think about building your own group. But whether you build your own Facebook group or whether you're part of another Facebook group that's got people that you want to work with, potential ideal clients, it's a great way to start to understand people better. So I will often post in my Facebook group questions around what people want, what are their challenges. If I'm looking to create, for example, solutions, training, webinars around, for example, business advisory, I would then go into the Facebook group and ask the question. I would say, are you interested in business advisory? If so, what's your biggest challenge with offering a business advisory service? What's the biggest challenge? What's the thing that you would love to know more about business advisory? And that gives me great information to make sure that when I then create the training, I can better serve the people, my ideal clients, because they're telling me what they want. And perhaps you've participated in some of those Facebook posts, and you can do exactly the same thing. If, for example, you decide that based on talking to clients, your ideal clients want to grow their business, you want to focus on offering your own business advisory solution, then you might go into your own Facebook group, other people's Facebook group, and ask some questions to understand what are the biggest challenges that they have with their business. And you'll get all sorts of information, like they're struggling to grow their business, they're struggling to make margins, their cash flow is always poor, they're working crazy hours, whatever it might well be. When you learn these things, when you understand better the sorts of people you want to serve, what their problems are, that's going to help you to build your solution. Know that there's an appetite for your solution, that you're going to solve people's problems. So we can ask for information in a whole host of different ways, and you need to do that, and you need to keep doing it, not just as a one-off exercise, but build in processes so you do it regularly. So it's gathering information is an ongoing process. We start off with identifying what are the questions we want to know, what do we want to learn, and then how can we systemize the process through, for example, our sales process, through our onboarding process, through our standard meeting agendas, and then perhaps have some regular standard social media posts. So one of the things that we do, for example, is when we run, so twice a year we run the how to price bookkeeping. We ran it as a mini conference a few months ago. Some of you were there, and some of you even speaking at it, speaking at the event, like Jessica. And what I do is we have a standard system where about 2 months before the event itself, we put a post into the Facebook group. And we ask questions like, what's your biggest challenge with pricing bookkeeping work? What do you want to learn? And then we take all that information, we summarize it, we see what the most common challenges, what are the things that people have the most problems with, and I make sure I build that into the training so that I give people the answers to the things that they need to know. Okay, so having got all of that information, having decided what we need to find out, created some systems to systematically collect that information, what do we do with it? What do we do with all that information? And we want to use it in a number of different ways. So we can use it from a marketing point of view. We can use it as we better understand our ideal clients. When we know who they are, then we can do better targeting. If you know that your ideal client is people running engineering businesses, manufacturing businesses who are wanting to grow their business, then that will really help you with targeting through whether it's Facebook ads or social posts, etc. But more important than that, it will really help you with your whole messaging. Because when you are marketing, the words that you use are so important, the copy that you write. You want copy that you want to get inside their head. If you can really understand their problems better than them, if you know what their problems are, if you know the words they use, then when you build that into your copy, into the words that you use, into your social posts, your Facebook ads, your emails, whatever it might well be, then when you are talking to their specific problems using their language, then that's going to make them take notice. That's going to make them want to take the next step, reach out to you, or grab your ebook, or book on your webinar, whatever it might well be. So all this information is priceless when it comes to marketing, targeting the right people, and in particular with getting the right messaging. It's also going to help you as well as part of your sales process. In the sales process, if you know in advance what are the challenges for your ideal clients, what are the things they desire, what are their wants, if you know all that information, then you can build that into your sales process. You can make sure that when you present your solutions, you present the various options, when you use language to build up the value of what you do, if you know what their desires are, if you know what they value, and what their immediate wants are, you can firstly build that in to your solutions, and also make sure that you communicate the value of those things. Talk about the outcomes of your work. You might say, for example, in your meetings, it may be that you're talking to Fred, he owns an engineering business, and you know from your research that the number one challenge that engineering clients are having right now is that they are struggling with margins. And you also know that a lot of your ideal clients, their goals are they're looking to make sure their business is sellable. They want to be able to sell their engineering business at some point. And so if you start talking to Fred in the meeting about how your solution is going to help them improve their margins, help them to increase their profitability, perhaps telling some case studies, showing some stories, and then talking about how you help people to make their business more sellable, Fred's going to think, wow, that's exactly what I really want. That's exactly what I want. You're going to make it much easier. You're going to be more effective in your sales process at getting those right type of clients when you understand better. Also, what you're going to do is, so it helps with marketing, it helps with selling. It's also going to help you to serve them better. The better you understand your clients, the better you understand what they want, what drives them, then you can deliver higher levels of service. You can deliver outstanding, extraordinary service, great customer service. If you know that they want things done fast, if that's important, then you build into your systems the processes that you need to turn your tax returns around in 7 days, or whatever it might well be that's important. And when you know what they want and you build that into your systems, then that's how you build an extraordinary firm. That's how you wow people. That's how people say, this accountant is amazing. They know exactly what I want and they deliver it every single time consistently. So we can just serve them better. We can give a much better, higher level of service when we understand what they really want. And then the other thing that we can do with that information is it really helps us with cross-selling. Cross-selling is telling our clients about other services that we have that we know will solve their problems or will help them get to where they want to get to. So if we know that our clients they really want us to help them improve their margins and make their business more sellable, then it might be right now that you've got a bunch of engineering manufacturing firms in your client base, and they're buying your annual financial statements and perhaps your tax return. But you know that what they want is they want to make their business more sellable, they want to improve their profit margins. Well, if you know that, then you need to be cross-selling. You need to be telling them about other things that they can buy from you that's going to solve their problems and help them to get what they want out of their business, out of their life. And cross-selling is so important because we spend too much time trying to win brand new clients, when very often the clients we have right now, that's the gold in our firms. If we the gold that sat there, if we just understood them better, if we just understood what their problems were, what their goals are, what their desires are, if we understood better our existing clients, and we can then build solutions that are going to help them, then we can start to serve them at higher levels. They'll buy. It's easier to sell. It's easier to sell to existing clients than it is to find a brand new client, because we already have the trusted relationship. They know us. They like us. If we can understand them better and provide a solution that will better serve them, then we can start to increase the amount they spend with us every year. So that's how we find out what our ideal clients want. So a quick summary, we talked about what is an ideal client. We need to be clear what our ideal clients are, what they look like. We then looked at what are the things we want to uncover, what are the questions we should be asking. We then looked at, well, how do we get that information? And then finally, what do we do with that information? Okay, we're going to move on to questions in a bit. Before we move on to questions, we've got a couple of things we're going to do. We're going to run a poll to see what you want me to teach you next month, is the first thing we're going to do. Let me just set that up or get that ready. So most of you who've come to these sessions regularly will know the process for this. We use Slido. And so if I just press this button here, so there's a couple of ways you can do it. Either if you have a smartphone, here it is, you can scan the QR code. It will take you to Slido and you'll see the poll. Alternatively, my team will put the link into the comments box. Just give it a few seconds to come through because we'll have to post it into Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Or if you just go to slido.com, you can go straight to slido.com and you'll just put in that 6-number code, 054230. It's free, Slido. You don't need an account with it. So just either QR code, scan your phone on that QR code you can see on the screen, go to slido.com and put in those 6 digits, and I'm just checking to see whether we've put the, if my team has put it into, I probably caught them out. I probably didn't let them know to do this. So it will come into the chat box soon. I can see people are voting, which is great. So get your votes in. So what we can either talk about different pricing models for different accounting services. We can look at how to price tax planning work. We can look at why you must involve the client in the pricing process. Or we can talk about marketing if you want, powerful marketing strategies for accounting firms. Or perhaps your challenge right now is you are overwhelmed with work and want to know how to deal with overwhelm. So those of you who are brand new, by the way, we usually have about 3 pricing topics, but sometimes we have a marketing topic and sometimes a big picture topic. I can see, by the way, that my team have put in, that Sarah's put in the links to that poll. If you've not sussed out the QR code, click on the link. Okay, I can see lots of votes coming in. I will show you the results in a second. Before I do that, let me just tell you about a couple of other things. And of course, think about the questions you have. If you've not asked your question yet, QQ in front, and then we'll deal with questions. We've got 20 minutes for questions. I think what I'm going to do is, let's show the results. Because we'll close the poll down if it's a clear winner. It might well be. I think which pricing model to use for different services was second last month, if I remember right. So that's now number 1. I think unless something drastically changes, that's probably the topic for next month. For those of you that are new, what we do is you get to vote for what I teach you next month. And then whichever one comes second, we put that in next month. So if you voted for overwhelm, don't worry, there's a second chance to get that next month. And then we'll put 3 fresh topics in. Okay, the ones that come 3rd, 4th, and 5th, they'll have to wait to another day. I think, Sarah, that's probably, I don't think that's going to change much. So we'll go with which pricing model to use for different services. And then we'll put back in the poll next month, how do you deal with overwhelm? Okay, let's go back to here. I'm going to stop the poll. Yeah. Okay, thanks for the votes. Right, a couple other quick things. We have a couple of events to tell you about. So on a date for your calendars, if you block out May 24, 25, 26, May the 24th to 26th, we are running, the next time we're running the Business Advisory Masterclass, where I'll be teaching how to do business advisory. But this time we have completely revamped it. So even if you've done that before, that 3 days of training with me, we have got a number of guest speakers as well who will be talking about how they are making advisory work in their own accounting firms. So make sure that you have that blocked out, May 24th, 25th, 26th. It's it's a little mini conference. Ticket prices are going to be $200 for that, but we've got a big offer coming out very soon in the next few days for 80% off. So it's just $40 for a ticket. And so watch this space. Block out it in your calendar right now. We will be posting in the usual places, the Facebook group, an email coming your way, and other places will tell you about more details of the conference, how to book your place, and how to get the huge 80% discount off the ticket price. So you won't want to miss out on that. Next thing to tell you about is the next session that I am doing live is with my good friend Steve Pipe, and that's on Tuesday. next week. Tuesday is our next session. It'll be same place you are right now, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. So Steve's going to be doing how to get paid really well for doing the work that really matters. And many of you I know come along to all Steve's sessions. He's amazing. He's a good friend of mine. We were in business for many years together, and he's now retired, and he spends all of his time helping other people, particularly through B1G1. So that's Steve next week. And the last thing to tell you about before we go into questions is, so the next session of this is going to be 4 weeks Wednesday, April the 20th. April the 20th, we will be doing whatever you voted for. I've already forgotten because it's closed the poll down. I think it was different pricing models for different accounting services. That's April the 20th. Put it in your calendar. Of course, UK clocks will have changed by then. So if you're in the US, it's back to the original time, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard. As is Steve's session next week, I think. Yes, because our clocks will change. Right, we have 20 minutes left. What does Dave say? Don't forget the QQ so questions stand out. Yes, I suspect a few people have probably asked their questions without a QQ, and so I may miss them. So that means I'll have to be extra careful with the chat box. Just bear me a second. Let's see where we got to, and perhaps a few more shout outs as well. Leah's here. Hi there, Leah. Good to see you again. And I saw this earlier from Jessica. So when I was talking about B1G1, and I know David Colts, you mentioned about the Ukraine. Jessica's, I know she's big into B1G1 as well, as are many of the people in the academy. You'll find out more about that on Tuesday if you come to Steve's session, by the way. Jessica has an automated giving campaign for that project. So congratulations, Jessica. She's doing great things in her firm. Hi, Diana. So I'm not seeing too many questions yet, so I'll read it. I'm just doing a few more shout outs. What did Jessica say? I agree. Client personality is huge for me. Refining my ideal client avatar meant I said no to several prospects this year, but it led to the most relaxing, busy season. Yeah, Jessica's, I think you were talking about this at the Profitable Bookkeeping Conference in February about your process of taking on clients and making sure you only take on the right clients and turning people away. It's very impressive. So I don't know who this person is because it just says President. So, okay, Mr. President, what is it? And forgive me if you did tell me your name somewhere, but what if clients want a service you can't deliver? Then, okay, so if your clients want a service that you can't deliver, then never try to deliver something that you're not an expert in, okay? Don't try to do things that you can't do. That will be not in the best interest of the clients. If it's a one-off thing, it's a one-off thing that one particular client wants, it may well be that you just have to be honest and say, we don't do that. What I would do is say, we don't do that, but let me do some research for you. Let me see if we can find someone who can solve that. If it's something that you know that many of your clients might benefit from or want, then I would either, number one, I'd do some research and figure out how could we offer that service. Is that a service that if lots of our ideal clients want, and this goes back to that stage 3 of the marketing. Number 1, what's your ideal client? Number 2, what do they want? Number 3, how can we build a firm delivers what they want? So it might be, for example, that you are a traditional bookkeeping business and your clients want help with growing their business, and that's business advisory, and you've never done it before. Then one option is for you to go away and figure out how to do it. If enough of your clients want that service and the only thing that's stopping you doing it is just a lack of knowledge, then go and get the knowledge. Go and do some training. Go and create the systems for delivering that service. The alternative is if lots of your clients want that service, but it's something you know you can't deliver, you have no interest in delivering it, it's something you never want to do, you don't want to learn about it, then do some research to see if there's somebody else that you know, and then have a joint venture arrangement. It could be that you have lots of clients that want help with marketing and growing their business, and you may have no interest in marketing whatsoever. So go into your community of other contacts in your network. If you might be part of things like BNI, for example, find somebody else. It may be you have a client in your firm who's a marketing expert who could help your clients. So then just create a joint venture where you offer their services, and it may be you do it where they might pay you a commission. You could do it, and actually you could potentially, if there's a lot of demand for it, you could have somebody else deliver it, but you brand it as part of your solution, as your firm. I hope that helps. Sorry, I don't know what your name is, but there you go, Mr. President. I hope that helps a little bit. Okay, Peter said, so true. You have to keep remembering to ask questions and always recognize that there is more to learn, particularly open-ended questions once you've dealt with the urgent items. Yes, and also because things do change. So you might have asked the questions 2 years ago about what your clients want, and a client might have, at that point in time, 2 years ago, had particular wants, particular problems, particular challenges. But 2 years on from there, things have changed. The world's changed. 2 years ago, we had a pandemic. Your clients' fears 2 years ago may be very different to what they are today, which is why we have to systemize the process. We have to keep gathering this information. I'm not sure what, Maria, you mean by this, because I perhaps taken out, I forget when I might have said something, but consulting services pricing. I'm not sure what you meant by that. So if it's a question, just let me know. I think we have another question from President. Hi there. Oh, it's Terence. I've just seen now. It's Terence. Hi there, Terence. Let's go with Terence. So by asking those questions to clients, are we moving into business coaching? Are there new skill sets required? Yes and no. Yes and no. I think that, I don't know if you've heard of it, there's a term called consultative selling. And what consultative selling means is that when we are selling, we do it by asking questions. And as professionals, that's exactly what we should be. We need to see the mistake that I know I used to do back in '96, because I didn't know about selling. When I would take on clients, a client would come to me, or potential client, they say, I want this, can you do this? What's it going to cost? And I would just say, yes, I can do that, and it'll cost this. And that's the wrong thing to do, because very often the clients don't ask for the right thing. They come to you asking for one thing, but we need to ask questions, because we need to understand, well, why do they want that thing? They might come to you and say, well, can you do a cash flow forecast? I need a cash flow forecast. Well, we know that nobody wants to buy a cash flow forecast. They want it for something else, for some other reason. We need to understand. We have to ask questions, because when we ask the right questions and understand the real underlying needs, what's the real problems they're facing? Why do they want this? What problems are they trying to get away from? What's the pain they have right now? What's the end result they really want? Then we can serve them better. And so Terence, you said, are we moving into the realms of business coaching? You could argue we are, but I think as professionals, we do have to become more skilled at asking the right questions. Because only when we ask the right questions, when we really truly understand what's important to clients, can we then present the right solutions. Hope that helps. So where have we got to? I have a feeling that actually we're running out of questions, which is unusual. So we have 10 minutes. Make sure, we've never ever finished early before. That's never happened, but it might. So make sure if you've got a question, do ask it. Do ask it. So what else have we got here? So they may just have comments. I don't know. Another person, I have no idea what your name is, because it says Deep Factor, enjoy the process. Okay, so this is a sort of question. There's no QQ in front. First time tuning in, so welcome. I don't know your name. Let me just see if you've added it somewhere. No, I can't see it. So we'll go with Deep Factor for now. First time tuning in, always wants to ask you about relevance of your content with regards to Canadian practices. So the answer is that what I teach is relevant to you, whether you're in Canada, the US, whether you're in the UK, whether you're in South Africa. That's where most people I work with are from. And you'll probably notice if you look at the comments, there are a lot of Canadians here. And I don't know why, but I have a lot of Canadians in the Value Pricing Academy, which is awesome. I love the Canadians. They are wonderful people and welcoming. I don't teach technical stuff. I don't teach things like tax stuff, because every country's got different tax rates, different processes. I teach value pricing. I teach the concepts that work anywhere. When I teach business advisory, which I'll be doing in May at the Business Advisory Masterclass, the stuff I will teach you will be just as relevant whether you're in Canada, South Africa, Ireland, wherever. Okay, Maria. So Maria said, sorry, how do you price business advisory services? That's a big topic, Maria. That's a big topic. And I'm going to go deep on that on May the 25th. That's day 2 of the Business Advisory Masterclass. So if you have questions around business advisory, then I'm going to go deep there, Maria. So just put it in your calendar, and then we'll be sending out a link within the next week, I think, with how to book your place on that. We're just at the moment pulling together the registration page and so on. But let me give you a bit of an answer now, because I feel that was a bit of a cop-out. I apologize. Let me give you a start of an answer. You absolutely must price based on value. Many of you know there are only 2 ways to price, essentially: cost plus pricing, value pricing. Cost plus pricing is where we add up the cost of doing something, add on a profit margin, and that's magically the price. And that's time-based billing. Time-based billing is a form of cost plus. It's a crazy way to price, because business advisory is one of the most valuable things that you can do. We shouldn't be pricing based on time. We should be pricing based on the value. And so we need to figure out the value to the client. What's it worth to the client? And part of that's through some of the things we've talked about, Maria. It's about understanding what are their problems right now? What's the pain? Where do they want to get to? What are their goals, their desires? If we know that the client right now is they want to build a successful business, and they want to take their current business from $500,000 to $2 million, but right now they're really struggling. Their margins are terrible. They're running out of cash, and you feel that you've got some expertise around advisory and can help them do that, then we can start to understand and start to play with some numbers and figure out, well, what's the potential for this business? If they're currently doing $500,000 and making no money, do we feel that if we work with them, we could help them go from $500,000 to $2 million and take their bottom line profit to, let's say, $250,000? And if we feel we could, then there's $250,000 of value there, and we can use that as part of the basis for pricing. The more value we feel we can create for a client, the more we can price. So I hope that helps, Maria. As I say, we're going to go really deep on that on May the 25th, when I will talk about how to price advisory services. Okay, let me move on. I don't know if it's a question or not from Kyle. We play a game with our clients called the why game. When they ask us for something, we ask them why until we get to the root of the request. That's brilliant. I absolutely love that. Yes, that's what we should be doing. When they ask for something, we ask why. We want to drill down and better understand. Thank you for sharing that. Bill Robinson, a couple of things here. I don't know if they're questions or not. Let me just see. What does your ideal client want drives not only our messaging, marketing, as well as our actual services packaging. Okay, that's a comment. Thank you for that. But I think he then builds on that. But at a tactical, practical level, how we engage with them. But then we should have a feedback loop baked into our monthly. Absolutely, I agree with all of that. And thank you. Deep Factor is actually Cool Dip. Hi there, Cool Dip. Good to see you. Any more questions? Lisa says, can you not see my QQ? No, Lisa. Did I miss you? If I did, I really apologize. Because I couldn't see anything from you, Lisa, other than when you first said, hi, I'm from Sussex, which I obviously I know you well, Lisa. No, Lisa, I can't see any questions from you. So I can see you've reposted it, I think. She said, can you recommend surveying existing customers with SurveyMonkey or email? There are lots of different surveying tools that you could use. SurveyMonkey I've often used. Another one is Typeform. I'm going to suggest what you do, Lisa, because we've used both SurveyMonkey, we've used Typeform, and when we do live sessions like this, we use Slido for things like polls. What I recommend you do, Lisa, is why don't you ask that question in my Facebook group, the big one, Value Pricing with Mark Wickersham. Put it as a post or question there, because there's 9,000 people in that group. You'll probably get some useful information as to what other tools do people use for doing surveys. So there's lots of digital tools we can use, like SurveyMonkey and so on. But of course, as you're saying in there, you could use non-digital. You could use emails. You could do letters. You could do a physical survey that you send out through the mail, and that can be effective as well. Lisa, I would suggest that when it comes to surveys, and if it's things like an annual survey, one of the things that you will find with an annual survey, whether it's an email, whether it's perhaps an email with a link to SurveyMonkey, whether it's you send a form through the mail, you will find that with annual surveys that you don't often get more than 10 to 20% responding. You can improve the response rates in a number of ways, like offering a gift for people completing, by making sure there's not too many questions so it's not overwhelming. There's things that you can do to improve the response rate, but even so, you'll probably not get much over 10 or 20%. And that's why you want to have as many different survey systems as possible. Use as many as you can, because some people respond to surveys in one particular form, another one. So when I ran my accounting firm, I had all sorts of surveys. I had surveys at the end of every meeting. They were quite effective because you've got a captive audience. They're in the meeting right now. Ask them to fill in this short little survey and leave it in reception. The downside is you only get one at a time in each meeting, but you do get a better response than just sending something out to your entire client base. But there's still value in doing that. I hope that helps, Lisa. Let me go back a bit because I think I might have missed some questions. I think it was BizBooks said. Off topic, but in the Bookkeepers Pricing Academy, are there ready-made Trello boards for basic bookkeeping? Only for pricing your bookkeeping services. I have a Trello board for that. I don't have more general Trello boards, but I'm going to assume that, I forget who you are now, BizBooks Organised. But if you're in the academy, if you're in the Bookkeepers Pricing Academy, then feel free to post into my Value Pricing Academy Facebook group. Does anybody have some Trello boards that they would be willing to share? I'm sure people do. We could do that. Okay, next question I can see, and we have 3 minutes left, by the way. We always finish bang on time. Next question I think is, and again, somebody else, I'm not sure who it is, Figure and Attic. What's the best way to approach a long-standing existing client with some of these questions mentioned without it feeling awkward? The sudden interest, it's Nikki. Hi there, Nikki. The sudden interest in their goals, desires, challenges. Then I would just say to a client something like this, and by the way, I wasn't expecting that question, so I'm making this up as I go along. If you gave me more time, I'd think about it. But I might just say to the client, Fred, we've been working with you for a long time. One of the things that we are starting to do now is understand at a deeper level what's really important to our clients, because we've just gone through a pandemic. The last 2 years have changed so many people's lives in so many ways that priorities today might be different to what they were before. So what we're doing now is we're using this as an opportunity to ask a few questions just to make sure we understand what's really important to you so we can serve you better. So is it okay if I just ask you 3 questions? And Fred will say yes. That wasn't a bad script, that. So, Nikki, I hope that helps. That helps. Something like that. I think the fact that the world has changed so much over the last 2 years, that gives you a good reason, a good excuse, perhaps, to say that's the reason why you want to ask some questions. Okay, 1 minute left. I have time, perhaps, for one very quick one, and it's Tracy Hamilton. Can you use yourself as an ideal client avatar if you currently do not have one? Yes and no. Yes, in as much as you could, when you're building your avatar, your ideal client, and thinking about more of the personality and the values and stuff, then yeah, you may decide that you want to work with people with a similar personality to you, with similar values to you. So by all means, yes, you can do that. But because you're running a bookkeeping business, there may be some other things that are more tangible, like what industry are they in, what size are they going to be, and they obviously may be totally different to you. It may be that it could be that you're a working from the kitchen side bookkeeper, and you want to work with owner-managed corporate engineering firms. But as a starting point, yes, the value side of things and personality, you will probably want to have them similar to yours. And I think actually that might have been the last question, which is great because it's exactly on the hour. So thank you so much for coming along. Thanks for all the great questions. And as usual, I'm going to play it with some music because that just gives me time to go back through and see if I missed anything. Oh, and by the way, if you found it valuable, please give it whatever thumbs up you've got, or likes or shares or whatever, whichever platform you're on. That would be awesome. Thank you so much. I might see you Tuesday on Steve Pipes. I'm hosting the session with Steve on Tuesday. Bye for now.